The Flower Ornament Sutra, Chapter 1, Part 2. Furthermore, the wind spirit unimpeded light found the door of liberation, entering into all the Buddha teachings and all worlds. The wind spirit everywhere manifesting courageous action found the door of liberation, providing extensive offerings to all the Buddhas appearing in innumerable lands. The wind spirit wind-striking cloud banner found the door of liberation, eliminating the sickness of all sentient beings with a fragrant wind. The wind spirit arrays of pure light found the door of liberation, producing roots of goodness in all sentient beings and causing them to pulverize the mountains of multiple barriers. The wind spirit power to dry up water found the door of liberation, able to defeat boundless armies of malicious demons. The wind spirit, great voice howling everywhere, found the door of liberation, annihilating the fears of all sentient beings. The wind spirit, tree branch hanging topknot, found the door of liberation of the ocean of powers of elucidation, entering into the real character of all things. The wind spirit, going everywhere unimpeded, found the door of liberation of the treasury of techniques to harmonize and civilize all sentient beings. The wind spirit, various mansions, found the door of liberation, entering into still, serene, meditative poise, and destroying the extremely deep darkness of folly and ignorance. The wind spirit, great light shining everywhere, found the door of liberation, of unhindered power to go along with all sentient beings. At that time, the wind spirit unimpeded light, imbued with the power of the Buddha, looked over all the wind spirits and said in verse, "The teachings of all Buddhas are most profound, with unhindered means by which all may enter, appearing always in all worlds, signless, formless, without image. Observe how the Buddha in the past gave offerings to endless Buddhas in a single instant. Such bold enlightenment practice, everywhere manifesting, can comprehend. Buddha saves the world inconceivably. None of his methods are used in vain. All cause action to be free from distress. This is the liberation of Cloud Banner. Beings have no blessings. They suffer many pains, with heavy veils and dense barriers always deluding them. Buddha makes them all attain liberation. This is known to pure light. The Buddha's vast mystic power conquers all armies of demons. All his methods of subduing healthy power is able to observe. Buddha emanates subtle sound from his pores, which extends everywhere throughout the world, causing all misery and fear to end. This is understood by howling everywhere. Buddha, in all oceans of lands, always preaches over unthinkable eons. This wonderful elucidation power of Buddhahood tree branch topknot can comprehend. Buddha's knowledge enters all avenues of means, completely free of hindrance therein. His realm is boundless and without any equal. This is the liberation of going everywhere. The Buddha's state is without bounds. By expedient means he shows it everywhere, yet his body is tranquil and has no form. This is the liberation door of various mansions. The Buddha cultivated practices for oceans of eons and has completely fulfilled all powers and can respond to beings in accord with worldly norms. This is the view of shining everywhere. Furthermore, the fire spirit, repository of flames of universal light, found the door of liberation, removing the darkness of all worlds. The fire spirit, banner of universal assembly of light, found the door of liberation, able to end all sentient beings' delusions, wanderings, and pains of irritating afflictions. The fire spirit, great light shining everywhere, found the door of liberation of the treasury of great compassion, with the immutable power of enriching. The fire spirit, top knot of inexhaustible light, found the door of liberation, of light beams illuminating the boundless reaches of space. The fire spirit, eyes of various flames, found the door of liberation, of silent, serene lights in various magnificent arrays. The fire spirit, palace of wonders, found the door of liberation, observing the Buddha's spiritual powers appearing without bound. The fire spirit, palaces in all directions like polar mountains, found the door of liberation, able to extinguish the blazing torments of all beings in all worlds. The fire spirit, sovereign of awesome light, found the door of liberation, able to freely enlighten all beings. The fire spirit, light shining in all directions, found the door of liberation, destroying forever all ignorant, attached opinions. The fire spirit, thunder and lightning, found the door of liberation, of the great roar of power to fulfill all undertakings. At that time, the fire spirit, repository of flames of universal light, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the fire spirits and said in verse, "Observe the Buddha's power of energy. For vast, inconceivable millions of eons, they have appeared in the world to help sentient beings, causing all barriers of darkness to be destroyed. Sentient beings, in their folly, create various views. Their passions are like torrents, like fires blazing. The guide's techniques remove them all. Banner of Universal Assembly of Light understands this. Blessings and virtues like space, unending, no bounds to them can ever be found. This is the Buddha's immutable power of compassion. Light shining, realizing this, conceives great joy. I observe the Buddha's practices over the eons without bound, thus manifesting spiritual powers. Palace of Wonders understands this. Practice perfected over billions of eons, inconceivable, to which no one can find any bound or limit. Buddha expounds the real character of things, causing joy. This is perceived by inexhaustible light. All the vast masses in the 10 directions behold the Buddha present before them. The tranquil light clearly lighting the world, this subtle flames can comprehend. The sage appears in all worlds, sitting in all their palaces, reigning the boundless great teaching. This is the perspective of all directions. The Buddha's wisdom is most profound. Free in all ways, they appear in the world, able to clarify all genuine truths. Awesome light, realizing this, rejoices at heart. The folly of views is a dark veil. Beings deluded eternally wander. For them, Buddha opens the gate of sublime teaching. Illumining all quarters can understand this. The gate of Buddha's vows is vast, inconceivable. Their powers and transcendent ways are developed and purified. All appear in the world according to their ancient vows. This is what thunder and lightning understands. Furthermore, the water spirit ubiquitous cloud banner realize the door of liberation, of compassion, equally benefiting all beings. The water spirit, cloud-like sound of the ocean tide, found the door of liberation, adorned with boundless truths. The water spirit, beautiful round topknot, found the door of liberation, observing those who could be taught and dealing with them with appropriate techniques. The water spirit, whirlpool of skills, found the door of liberation, everywhere expounding the most profound realm of the Buddhas. The water spirit, store of undefiled fragrance, found the door of liberation, everywhere manifesting pure bright light. The water spirit, virtue bridge light sound, found the signless, essenceless door of liberation of the pure realm of truth. The water spirit, freedom of contentment, found the door of liberation of the inexhaustible ocean of great compassion. The water spirit, good sound of pure joy, found the door of liberation, being a mine of great joy among the hosts of enlightening beings at sights of enlightenment. The water spirit, everywhere manifesting awesome light, found the door of liberation, appearing everywhere by means of the unimpeded, immensely vast power of virtue. The water spirit, roaring sound filling the sea, found the door of liberation, observing all sentient beings and producing infinite techniques for harmonizing and pacifying them. At that time, the water spirit ubiquitous cloud banner, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the water spirits and said, "Gates of pure compassion, as many as atoms in all lands, together produce a single sublime feature of the Buddha. Other features also are each like this. Therefore, beholders of Buddha never become jaded." When the Buddha cultivated practice in the past, he went to visit all of the Buddhas. Cultivating himself in various ways, never lacks, these methods cloud sound enters. The Buddha in all 10 directions is still unmoving, not coming or going, yet teaches beings appropriately, causing them all to see. This is what Round Topknot knows. The realm of the Buddha is boundless, immeasurable. All sentient beings cannot comprehend it. The preaching of his wondrous voice fills all directions. This is technique whirlpool sphere. The light of the Buddha has no end. It fills the cosmos inconceivably, teaching, edifying, liberating beings. This pure fragrance watches and sees. The Buddha is pure as space, signless, formless, present everywhere, yet causing all beings to see. This light of blessings well observes. Of old, Buddha practiced great compassion. His mind is broad as all of life. Therefore, he is like a cloud appearing in the world. This liberation contentment knows. All lands in the 10 directions see the Buddha sitting on his seat, becoming clearly enlightened with great realization. This is where joyful sound enters in. Buddha's sphere of action is free from hindrance. He goes to all lands in the 10 directions, everywhere showing great mystical powers. Manifesting awesome light has realized this. He cultivates boundless expedient practices, equal to the worlds of sentient beings, filling them all. The subtle action of his mystic power never ceasing. Roaring sound filling the sea can enter this. Furthermore, the ocean spirit, producing jewel light, found the door of liberation, impartially bestowing an ocean of blessings on all beings. The ocean spirit, unbreakable diamond banner, found the door of liberation, preserving the good roots of all sentient beings by skillful means. The ocean spirit, undefiled, found the door of liberation, able to evaporate the ocean of all sentient beings' afflictions. The ocean spirit, always dwelling in the waves, found the door of liberation, causing all sentient beings to depart from evil ways. The ocean spirit auspicious jewel moon found the door of liberation, everywhere destroying the darkness of great ignorance. The ocean spirit beautiful flower dragon topknot found the door of liberation, extinguishing the sufferings of all states of being and bestowing peace and happiness. The ocean spirit, everywhere holding the flavor of light, found the door of liberation, purifying all sentient beings of their opinionated, ignorant nature. The ocean spirit, jewel flame flower light, found the door of liberation, producing the will of enlightenment, which is the source of all nobility. The ocean spirit, beautiful diamond topknot, found the door of liberation, of the ocean of virtues of the unshakable mind. The ocean spirit, thunder of the ocean tide, found the door of liberation, entering everywhere into absorption in the cosmos of reality. At that time, the ocean spirit producing jewel light, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the ocean spirits and spoke these verses. Over an ocean of inconceivably vast eons, he made offerings to all the Buddhas, distributing the merit to all living beings. That is why his dignity is beyond compare. Appearing in all worlds, knowing the capacities and desires of all beings, Buddha expounds for them the ocean of truths. This is joyfully realized by indestructible banner. All sentient beings are shrouded by afflictions, roaming in all conditions, subject to all miseries. For them he reveals the state of Buddhahood. Palace in all waters enters this door. Buddha, in unthinkable oceans of eons, cultivated all practices endlessly, forever cutting the net of being's confusion. Jewel moon can clearly enter this. Buddha sees beings always afraid, whirling in the ocean of birth and death. He shows them the Buddha's unexcelled way. Dragon topknot, comprehending, gives rise to joy. The realm of the Buddhas cannot be conceived. It is equal to the cosmos and space. It can clear away being's net of delusion. This flower holding is able to expound. The Buddha eye is pure and inconceivable, comprehensively viewing all things. He points out to all the excellent paths. This flower light understands. The army of demons, huge, uncountable, he destroys in the space of an instant. His mind undisturbed, unfathomable, this is diamond topknot's technique. Speaking a wondrous sound in the 10 directions, that sound pervades the entire universe. Such is the Buddha's meditation state. This is the realm of ocean tide thunder. Furthermore, the river spirit, everywhere producing swift currents, found the door of liberation, everywhere raining the boundless rain of truth. The river spirit, universally purifying springs and streams, found the door of liberation, appearing before all sentient beings and causing them to be forever free from afflictions. The river spirit, dust-free pure eye, found the door of liberation by compassion and appropriate techniques, washing away the dust of delusions from all sentient beings. The river spirit, roaring everywhere, found the door of liberation, constantly producing sounds beneficial to all sentient beings. The river spirit, rescuing sentient beings everywhere, found the door of liberation, always being non-malevolent and kind toward all sentient beings. The river spirit, heatless pure light, found the door of liberation, showing all pure and cool good roots of goodness. The river spirit, universally causing joy, found the door of liberation, cultivating complete generosity, causing all sentient beings to forever give up stinginess and attachment. The river spirit, supreme banner of extensive virtue, found the door of liberation, being a field of blessings giving joy to all. The river spirit, light shining on all worlds, found the door of liberation, able to cause all defiled beings to be pure, and all those poisoned with anger to become joyful. The river spirit, light of oceanic virtues, found the door of liberation, able to cause all sentient beings to enter the ocean of liberation and always experience complete bliss. At that time, the river spirit, everywhere producing swift currents, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the river spirits and spoke in verse. Of old, the Buddha, for the sake of all beings, cultivated boundless practices of the ocean of truths. Like refreshing rain, clearing blazing heat, he extinguishes the heat of beings' afflictions. Buddha, in uncountable past eons, purified the world with the light of his vows, causing the mature to realize enlightenment. This is the realization of universal purifier. With compassion and methods, numerous beings, he appears before all, always guiding, clearing away the dirt of afflictions. Pure eyes, seeing this, rejoices profoundly. Buddhas speak of wondrous sound, causing all to hear. Sentient beings, delighted, have hearts full of joy, causing them to wash away innumerable pains. This is the liberation of everywhere roaring. The Buddha cultivated enlightenment practice to aid sentient beings for innumerable ages. Therefore, his light fills the world. The spirit guardian, remembering, is happy. Buddha cultivated practices for the sake of beings, by various means making them mature, purifying the ocean of blessings, removing all pains. Heatless, seeing this, rejoices at heart. The gate of generosity is inexhaustible, benefiting all sentient beings, causing witnesses to have no attachment. This is the enlightenment of universal joy. Buddha cultivated genuine methods of enlightenment, developing a boundless ocean of virtues, causing witnesses all to rejoice. This supreme banner happily realizes. He clears away the defilements of beings, equally compassionate even to the vicious, therefore acquiring radiance, filling all space. Light shining on all worlds sees and rejoices. Buddha is the field of blessings, ocean of virtues, able to cause all to abandon evil, and even fulfill great enlightenment. This is the liberation of ocean light. Furthermore, the crop spirit, gentle, superb flavor, found the door of liberation, bestowing rich flavor on all sentient beings, causing them to develop a Buddha body. The crop spirit, pure light of seasonal flowers, found the door of liberation, able to cause all sentient beings to experience great joy and happiness. The crop spirit, physical strength, courage, and health, found the door of liberation, purifying all realms by means of all-round, complete teachings. The crop spirit, increasing vitality, found the door of liberation, seeing the boundless mystical powers compassionately used by the Buddha for edifying demonstrations. The crop spirit, everywhere producing roots and fruits, found the door of liberation, everywhere revealing the Buddha's field of blessings and causing seeds planted there not to spoil. The crop spirit, wonderfully adorned circular top knot, found the door of liberation, causing the flower of pure faith of sentient beings everywhere to bloom. The crop spirit moistening pure flowers found the door of liberation, compassionately saving sentient beings and causing them to increase in blessings and virtue. The crop spirit developing wonderful fragrance found the door of liberation, extensively demonstrating all methods of enlightening practice. The crop spirit liked by all who see found the door of liberation, able to cause all sentient beings in the universe to abandon such ills as sloth and anxiety, and to become pure in all ways. The crop spirit pure light found the door of liberation, observing the good roots of all sentient beings, explaining the truth to them in appropriate ways, bringing joy and fulfillment to the masses. At that time, the crop spirit gentle superb flavor, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the crop spirits and said, "The Buddha's ocean of unexcelled virtues manifests a lamp which illumines the world. Saving and protecting all sentient beings, he gives them all peace, not leaving out one. The Buddha's virtues are boundless. No beings hear of them in vain. He causes them to be free from suffering and always happy. This is what seasonal flowers enters into. The powers of the Buddha are all complete. His array of virtues appears in the world, and all sentient beings are harmonized. To this fact, courageous power can witness. The Buddha cultivated an ocean of compassion, his heart always as broad as the whole world. Therefore, his spiritual powers are boundless. Increasing vitality can see this. Buddha always appears throughout the world. None of his methods are employed in vain. Clearing away beings' delusions and torments, this is the liberation of universal producer. Buddha is the great ocean of knowledge in the world, emanating pure light which reaches everywhere, whence is born all great faith and resolution. Thus can adorned topknot clearly enter. Buddha, observing the world, conceives kind compassion, appearing in order to aid sentient beings, showing them the supreme way of peace and joy. This is the liberation of pure flowers. The pure practices cultivated by Buddha are fully expounded under the tree of enlightenment, thus edifying everyone in all quarters. This wonderful fragrance can hear. Buddha in all worlds brings freedom from sorrow, creating great joy. All potentials and aspirations he purifies. The spirit pleasing understands this. The Buddha appears in the world, observes the inclinations of all beings, and matures them by various means. This is the liberation of pure light. Furthermore, the herb spirit auspicious found the door of liberation, observing the mentalities of all sentient beings and striving to unify them. The herb spirit sandalwood forest found the door of liberation, embracing all sentient beings with light and causing those who see it not to waste the experience. The herb spirit pure light found the door of liberation, able to annihilate the afflictions of all sentient beings by pure techniques. The herb spirit universal renown found the door of liberation, able to increase the boundless ocean of good roots by means of a great reputation. The herb spirit radiant pause found the door of liberation, hurrying to all sites of illness with the banner of great compassion. The herb spirit darkness destroying purifier found the door of liberation, able to cure all blind sentient beings and cause their eye of wisdom to be clear. The herb spirit Rora found the door of liberation, able to expound the verbal teaching of the Buddha, explaining the different meanings of all things. The herb spirit Banner of Light outshining the sun found the door of liberation, able to be the advisor of all sentient beings, causing all who see to produce roots of goodness. The herb spirit Seeing in all directions found the door of liberation, of the mine of pure compassion, able to make beings give rise to faith and resolve by means of appropriate techniques. The herb spirit everywhere emanating majestic light found the door of liberation, causing beings to remember Buddha, thereby eliminating their sicknesses. At that time, the herb spirit auspicious, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the herb spirits and said, "The Buddha's knowledge is inconceivable. He knows the minds of all sentient beings, and by the power of various techniques destroys their delusions and infinite pains. The great hero's skills cannot be measured. Nothing he does is ever in vain, unfailingly causing the suffering of beings to vanish. Sandalwood Forest can understand this. Observe the Buddha's teaching like so. He practiced for innumerable eons and has no attachment to anything. This is the entry of pure light. A Buddha is hard to meet in 1,000,000 ages. If any can see one or hear one's name, it will unfailingly bring benefit. This is the understanding of universal renown. Each of the Buddha's hair pores emits light, annulling distress, causing worldly afflictions to end. This is the entry of radiant pores. All sentient beings are blinded by ignorance, with an infinite variety of miseries from deluded acts. Buddha clears it all away and opens the radiance of wisdom. This darkness breaker can see. One tone of the Buddha has no limiting measure. It can open up the ocean of all teachings, so that all who hear can comprehend. This is the liberation of great sound. See how Buddha's knowledge is inconceivable. Appearing in all realms, he saves beings there, able to make those who see follow his teaching. This outshining the sun deeply understands. Buddha's ocean of compassionate means is produced to help the world, opening the right path wide to show beings. This, seeing in all directions, can comprehend. Buddha emits great light all around, illumining all in the 10 directions, causing virtue to grow as the Buddhas remembered. This is the liberation door of majestic light. Furthermore, the forest spirit, spreading flowers like clouds, found the door of liberation of the repository of the vast, boundless sea of knowledge. The forest spirit, outstanding trunk, unfolding light, found the door of liberation of great cultivation and universal purification. The forest spirit, bearing branches emitting radiant light, found the door of liberation, increasing the growth of all sorts of sprouts of pure faith. The forest spirit, auspicious pure leaves, found the door of liberation, arrayed with all pure virtues. The forest spirit, draped flame treasury, found the door of liberation, of universal wisdom, always viewing the entire cosmos. The forest spirit, pure arrays of light, found the door of liberation, knowing the ocean of all sentient beings' activities, and producing and spreading clouds of teaching. The forest spirit, pleasant thunder, found the door of liberation, enduring all unpleasant sounds and producing pure sounds. The forest spirit, light and fragrance all-pervading, found the door of liberation, showing the vast realm of practices cultivated and mastered in the past. The forest spirit, subtle light shining far, found the door of liberation, benefiting the world by means of all virtuous qualities. The forest spirit, flowers and fruits savouring of light, found the door of liberation, able to cause all to see the Buddha appearing in the world, to always remember with respect and never forget, and adorn the mine of virtues. At that time, the forest spirit, spreading flowers like clouds, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the forest spirits and said, "In the past, Buddha cultivated enlightening practices. His virtue and wisdom are thoroughly complete. He has all powers fully in command. Emitting great light, he appears in the world. The aspects of his compassion are as infinite as beings. Buddha purified them all in eons past, and therefore is able to bring aid to the world. This is the understanding of outstanding trunk. Once sentient beings see the Buddha, he'll plunge them into the ocean of faith, showing to all the enlightening way. This is the liberation of wonderful branches. The virtues amassed in a single pore could not be all told of in an ocean of eons. The Buddha's techniques are inconceivable. Pure leaves can understand this teaching. I recall the Buddha in the past made offerings to infinite numbers of Buddhas, his knowledge gradually becoming clearer with each. This is what Store of Flames understands. The ocean of actions of all sentient beings, the Buddha knows in an instant of thought. Such vast, unhindered knowledge, beautiful adornments can begin to realize. Always intoning the Buddha's serene, sublime sound, produces incomparable joy everywhere, causing all to awaken according to their understanding and inclination. This is the principle of thunder sounds practice. The Buddha shows great mystic powers all throughout the 10 directions, causing his past deeds to be seen. This is where all-pervading light and fragrance enters. Sentient beings are dishonest and don't practice virtue. Lost and deluded, they sink and flow in birth and death. For them, he clearly opens the paths of knowledge. This is seen by subtle light. Buddha, for the sake of beings blocked by habits, appears in the world after millions of eons, causing them to see always for the rest of time. This is observed by savor of light. Furthermore, the mountain spirit, jewel peak blooming flowers, found the door of liberation, entering the light of absorption in great quiescence. The mountain spirit, flower forest top knot, found the door of liberation, cultivating and collecting good roots of kindness, and developing an inconceivable number of beings to maturity. The mountain spirit, lofty banner shining everywhere, found the door of liberation, looking into the inclinations of all sentient beings, and purifying their senses. The mountain spirit, undefiled jewel topknot, found the door of liberation of boundless eons of diligent striving, without becoming weary or remiss. The mountain spirit, light illumining all directions, found the door of liberation, awakening all with lights of infinite qualities. The mountain spirit, light of great power, found the door of liberation, of capability of self-development, and causing sentient beings to give up deluded behavior. The mountain spirit, awesome light conquering all, found the door of liberation, removing all pains so that none are left. The mountain spirit light orb of subtle intensity found the door of liberation, spreading the light of the teachings, showing the virtues of all Buddhas. The mountain spirit universal eye, clearly seeing, found the door of liberation, causing all sentient beings to make their roots of goodness grow, even in dreams. The mountain spirit adamantine eye of mystery found the door of liberation, bringing forth a great ocean of meaning. At that time, the mountain spirit blooming flowers all over the earth, imbued with power from the Buddha, surveyed all the hosts of mountain spirits and said in verse, "Having cultivated excellent practices without bound, now he has attained mystic powers also infinite. His gates of teaching are wide open, numerous as atoms, causing all sentient beings to deeply understand and rejoice. His body, adorned in many ways, is omnipresent. The lights from his pores are all pure. With compassionate techniques, he teaches all. Flower Forest Topknot understands this. The Buddha body appears everywhere. It's boundless, filling all worlds in the 10 directions, all faculties pure, a joy to all beholders. This truth High Banner can understand. For eons practicing diligently without flagging, unaffected by worldly things, like empty space, by various means he edifies beings. Realizing this is Jewel Topknot. Sentient beings blindly enter dangerous paths. Pitying them, Buddha emits shining light, causing all beings thereby to awake. Awesome Light, understanding this, rejoices. Extensively cultivating practices in all states of being, he made offerings to innumerable Buddhas, causing beings who saw to make great vows. This great power can clearly enter. Seeing beings' sufferings in transmigration, always enshrouded by barriers of doing, he extinguishes all with the light of wisdom. This is the liberation of conquering all. Each of his pores emits subtle sound, praising the Buddhas in accord with beings' mentalities, pervading all quarters for uncounted ages. This is the door by which Light Orb has entered. Buddha appears throughout the 10 directions, expounding the subtle truth by various means, with an ocean of practices aiding all beings. This is what clearly seeing has understood. The gates of the teaching are boundless as the sea. He expounds it with one voice, making all understand, preaching forever with never an end. Delving into this technique is Diamond Eye. Furthermore, the Earth Spirit, pure flower of universal virtue, found the door of liberation, constantly watching all sentient beings with an attitude of kindness and compassion. The Earth Spirit, adornment of stable blessings, found the door of liberation, manifesting the power of blessings and virtues of all sentient beings. The Earth Spirit, beautiful flower-adorned tree, found the door of liberation, entering into all things and producing adornment for all Buddha fields. The Earth Spirit, universal distribution of treasures, found the door of liberation, cultivating and producing various states of meditation and causing sentient beings to get rid of obstructing defilements. The Earth Spirit, pure eye observing the season, found the door of liberation, causing all sentient beings to sport happily. The Earth Spirit, beautiful golden eyes, found the door of liberation, manifesting all pure bodies and harmonizing sentient beings. The Earth Spirit, fragrant hair emitting light, found the door of liberation of great power, comprehending the ocean of virtues of all Buddhas. The earth spirit silent pleasing sound found the door of liberation, holding the ocean of speech sounds of all sentient beings. The earth spirit curled topknot of beautiful flowers found the door of liberation, of the undefiled nature pervading all Buddha fields. The earth spirit indestructible all-sustainer found the door of liberation, revealing all that is contained in the cycles of teaching of all Buddhas. At that time, the earth spirit pure flower of universal virtue, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the earth spirits and said, "The doors of compassion opened by the Buddha in every moment of the past cannot be all told of. He cultivated such practice unceasingly. Therefore, he has an indestructible body. The store of blessings of all sentient beings in all times, as well as enlightening beings, all appear in the Buddha's pores. Adornment of blessings, seeing this, rejoices. His vast state of serene absorption is unborn, imperishable, has no coming or going, yet he purifies lands to show sentient beings. This is the liberation of flowered tree. Buddha cultivated various practices to make sentient beings dissolve all barriers. Universal distributor of treasure sees this liberation and rejoices. The sphere of the Buddha is boundless. He appears every moment throughout the world, observing the season with pure eyes. Seeing Buddha's realm of action is joyful. His sublime voice is limitless and inconceivable. He destroys afflictions for all sentient beings. Diamond Eye can realize this. Seeing Buddha's boundless supreme virtues, he appears in disguise in all kinds of forms, all throughout the universe. Fragrant hair emitting light always sees Buddha, thus teaching all sentient beings. His sublime voice extends everywhere, explaining for beings for infinite eons. Pleasing sound, earth spirit comprehends this, and, hearing it from the Buddha, is reverently joyful. Buddha's pores emit clouds of fragrant flames, filling the world according to the mentalities of beings. All who see this develop maturity. This is what Flower Swirl observes. Stable and unbreakable as diamond, more unshakable than the polar mountain, the Buddha's body is in the world this way. All sustainer, able to see, gives rise to joy. Furthermore, the city spirit, jewel peak radiance, found the door of liberation, benefiting sentient beings by appropriate means. The city spirit, beautifully adorned palace, found the door of liberation, knowing the faculties of sentient beings and teaching and maturing them. The city spirit, jewel of pure joy, found the door of liberation, always joyfully causing all sentient beings to receive various blessings. The city spirit, sorrowless purity, found the door of liberation, of the mine of great compassion, saving those in fear. The city spirit, flower lamp flame eyes, found the door of liberation, of universally clear great wisdom and knowledge. The city spirit, flame banner clearly showing, found the door of liberation, appearing everywhere with appropriate means. The city spirit, light of virtue, found the door of liberation, observing all sentient beings and causing them to cultivate the vast ocean of virtue. The city spirit, body of pure light, found the door of liberation, awakening all sentient beings from the darkness of ignorance. The city spirit, eyes of light of a mountain of jewels, found the door of liberation, able to pulverize the mountains of obstructions hindering sentient beings by means of a great light. At that time, the city spirit dual peak radiance, imbued with power from the Buddha, surveyed all the hosts of city spirits and said in verse, "The guide is so inconceivable, with light illumining the 10 directions. All sentient beings see Buddha before them, teaching and developing countless numbers. The faculties of sentient beings are each different. The Buddha knows them all. The spirit beautifully adorned palaces enters this gate of teaching with joy." The Buddha cultivated practices for boundless eons, maintaining the teachings of the Buddhas of past ages, his mind always happily accepting them. Jewel of Joy realizes this way. Buddha in the past was already able to remove the fears of all sentient beings, and always exercise kindness and compassion toward them. This the spirit, sorrowless, comprehends with joy. Buddha's knowledge is vast and boundless. Like space, it cannot be measured. Flower Eyes, realizing this, is pleased. He can study the Buddha's ineffable wisdom. The Buddha's physical forms are equal to sentient beings. He causes them to see him according to their inclinations. Flame Banner, clearly showing, understands this in his heart and practices this technique, producing joy. Buddha cultivated an ocean of myriad blessings, pure, vast, without any bounds. Light of Virtue Banner, taking this approach, contemplates, comprehends, and is happy in mind. Sentient beings ignorantly wander through various states of existence. Like people born blind, after all they cannot see. Buddha appears in the world to help them. Pure light enters this door. The Buddha's powers are boundless, like clouds covering all the world. He appears even in dreams to teach. This is what Fragrant Banner perceives. Sentient beings are foolish and ignorant, as though blind and deaf. They are shrouded by all kinds of obstructing veils. Buddha's light penetrates them, making them open up. Such is the entryway of Mountain of Jewels. Furthermore, the sanctuary spirit, Banner of Pure Adornments, found the door of liberation of the power of commitment to produce vast adornments to offer to the Buddha. The sanctuary spirit, Polar Mountain Jewel Light, found the door of liberation, appearing before all sentient beings, perfecting the practice of great enlightenment. The sanctuary spirit, Sign of Thunder, found the door of liberation, causing all sentient beings to see the Buddha in dreams, teaching them according to their mentalities and inclinations. The sanctuary spirit, Wonderful Eyes Raining Flowers, found the door of liberation, able to rain all precious adornments that are hard to part with. The sanctuary spirit, Form of Pure Flowers, found the door of liberation, able to manifest beautifully adorned sanctuaries, teach many beings, and cause them to develop to maturity. The sanctuary spirit, Garland Light Topknot, found the door of liberation, teaching the truth according to beings' faculties, causing them to develop right awareness. The sanctuary spirit, Raining Jewel Arrays, found the door of liberation, able to eloquently rain everywhere boundless, joyous truths. The sanctuary spirit, Courageous Fragrant Eye, found the door of liberation, extensively praising the virtues of the Buddhas. The sanctuary spirit, Diamond-Colored Cloud, found the door of liberation, causing arrays of trees of boundless colors and forms to appear. The sanctuary spirit, Lotus Light, found the door of liberation, being still and unmoving under the tree of enlightenment, yet being present everywhere. The sanctuary spirit radiance of ineffable light found the door of liberation, demonstrating the various powers of a Buddha. At that time, the sanctuary spirit banner of pure adornments, imbued with power from the Buddha, looked over all the sanctuary spirits and said, I recall the Buddha in former times, the practices he performed for countless eons, making offerings to all the Buddhas who appeared. So he has virtues vast as all space. The Buddha practiced unlimited generosity in infinite lands, numerous as all atoms. Thinking of the well-faring Buddha, Polar Mountain Light's heart is glad. The physical forms of Buddha have no end. His transformations pervade all lands, always appearing, even in dreams. Thunder Banner, seeing this, gives rise to joy. He practiced relinquishment for countless ages, able to give up eyes, hard to part with, enough to fill a sea. This practice of relinquishment was for the sake of all beings. This wonderful eyes happily understands. Boundless forms, like blazing clouds of jewels, appear in sanctuaries throughout the world. The spirit form of pure flames rejoices upon seeing the mystical power of Buddha. The ocean of sentient beings' activities is shoreless. The Buddha fills it with the rain of truth. Removing doubt and confusion according to potential, Flower Garland, realizing this, is pleased. The different meanings of innumerable teachings are delved into by his oceanic eloquence. The spirit raining precious adornments is always thus in mind. In unspeakably many lands, he praised the Buddhas in all languages, and therefore has great fame and virtue. Courageous eye can keep this in mind. Infinite trees of various forms appear beneath the king, tree of enlightenment. Diamond-colored cloud realizes this, and always watches the tree with delight. Bounds to the 10 directions cannot be found. Likewise, the knowledge of Buddha on the site of enlightenment, Lotus Light's pure mind of faith, enters this liberation and profoundly rejoices. Everything at the site of enlightenment produces exquisite sound, extolling the pure, inconceivable powers of the Buddha, as well as the perfected causal practices. This can be heard by ineffable light. Furthermore, the footstep-following spirit, precious symbol, found the door of liberation raining jewels all over, producing bountiful joy. The footstep-following spirit, lotus light, found the door of liberation showing the Buddha seated on a lotus throne of lights of all colors, causing delight to those who see. The footstep-following spirit, supreme flower topknot, found the door of liberation, setting up the sanctuaries and assemblies of all Buddhas in every moment of thought. The footstep-following spirit, embodying all beautiful visions, found the door of liberation, pacifying and harmonizing countless sentient beings at every step. The footstep-following spirit, exquisite gem star banner, found the door of liberation, in every moment of thought magically producing various lotus-like webs of light, everywhere raining showers of jewels, producing marvelous sounds. The footstep-following spirit, joyfully uttering sublime sounds, found the door of liberation, producing boundless oceans of joy. The footstep-following spirit, sandalwood tree, light, found the door of liberation, awakening the assemblies at all sites of enlightenment with a fragrant breeze. The footstep-following spirit, lotus light, found the door of liberation, emanating light from every pore, intoning the subtle sounds of truth. The footstep-following spirit, subtle light, found the door of liberation, producing from the body webs of various lights illumining everywhere. The footstep-following spirit, collection of fine flowers, found the door of liberation, enlightening all beings and causing them to develop oceans of virtues. At that time, the footstep-following spirit, precious symbol, imbued with the Buddha's power, surveyed all the assembled footstep-following spirits and said in verse, Buddha practiced for innumerable eons, making offerings to all the Buddhas, his mind always joyful, never wearied, his joy as deep and vast as the sea. His spiritual powers, active every moment, are immeasurable. He produces lotuses of various fragrances, with Buddhas sitting on them, traveling all over. Lotus light sees it all. The teaching of the Buddhas is thus. The vast assemblies fill all directions. They show mystic powers which can't be assessed. This supreme flower clearly perceives. In all places in the 10 directions, with every step he takes, he can develop all beings. This beautiful visions understands. He manifests bodies numerous as beings. Each of these bodies fills the universe, all shedding pure light and showering jewels. This liberation star banner enters into. The realm of the Buddha has no bounds. He showers the rain of truth, filling all. Seeing the Buddha, the masses rejoice. This is what's seen by sublime sound. The Buddha's voice is equal in extent to space. All sounds and voices are contained therein. It tames sentient beings, extending to all. Thus can sandalwood hear. All his pores emit magical sounds, extolling the names of Buddhas of all times. All who hear these sounds are delighted. Thus does lotus light see. The disguised appearances of the Buddha are inconceivable. His physical forms are like the ocean, causing all to see according to mentality. This is what subtle light apprehends. Displaying great mystic powers everywhere, he enlightens all beings. Fine flowers, seeing this truth, becomes joyful at heart. Furthermore, the multiple body spirit, realm of pure joy, found the door of liberation, remembering the ocean of Buddha's ancient vows. The multiple body spirit, light illumining all directions, found the door of liberation of light shining everywhere on boundless worlds. The multiple body spirit, oceanic sound conquering, found the door of liberation of a great sound awakening all beings and causing them to be happy and harmoniously tranquil. The multiple body spirit, pure flower-adorned topknot, found the door of liberation of a body like space, omnipresent. The multiple body spirit, infinite dignified postures, found the door of liberation, showing all sentient beings the realm of the Buddhas. The multiple body spirit, a ray of supreme light, found the door of liberation, causing all famished sentient beings to be physically healthy and strong. The multiple body spirit, fragrant clouds of pure light, found the door of liberation, clearing away all sentient beings' defiling afflictions. The multiple body spirit, guardian sustainer, found the door of liberation, overturning all sentient beings' ignorant, foolish, maniacal actions. The multiple body spirit, ubiquitous shepherd, found the door of liberation, manifesting adornments in the palaces of all world leaders. The multiple body spirit, immutable light, found the door of liberation, embracing all sentient beings and causing them to produce pure roots of goodness. At that time, the multiple body spirit realm of pure joy, empowered by the Buddha, looked over all the multiple body spirits and said, I remember countless eons ago, a Buddha sublime light appeared in the world. This world-honored one, in the presence of that Buddha, vowed to attain enlightenment and served all Buddhas. Buddha's body emits great light, which fills the entire cosmos. When beings encounter it, their minds are subdued. This is seen by illumining all directions. Buddha's voice makes all countries tremble. Every sphere of sound awakes all beings without exception. Conqueror, hearing, rejoices at heart. The Buddha body is pure, ever calm, manifesting all forms, yet without any signs, abiding this way everywhere in the world. This is the approach of pure flowers. The guide is so inconceivable, causing all to see according to their minds, sometimes sitting or walking or standing. Infinite dignified postures understands this. A Buddha is hard to meet, even in 1,000,000 years, eons. He appears in the world to give help freely, causing beings to be free from the pains of destitution. Here is where supreme light array enters. Each of the Buddha's teeth emits blazing clouds of light, as from a fragrant lamp, destroying the illusions of all sentient beings. Undefiled clouds seize in this way. Beings' attachments and delusions are multiple barriers. They follow demons in their ways, always involved in routines. Buddha shows them the way to liberation. Guardian Sustainer can understand this. I see the independent power of Buddha, his light filling the universe. In royal palaces he edifies beings. This is the realm of the ubiquitous one. Beings are deluded, full of miseries. Buddha is in their midst, always saving, causing delusions to vanish and joy to abound. This is what's seen by immutable light. Furthermore, the thunderbolt-bearing spirit, demigod of wonderful form, found the door of liberation, seeing the Buddha manifest a body of infinite physical forms. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, banner of swiftness of the sun, found the door of liberation of each hair of the Buddha body, radiating clouds of various light beams, like the sun. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, light of the flowers of the polar mountain, found the door of liberation of great mystic powers manifesting innumerable bodies. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, pure sound of clouds, found the door of liberation of infinite sounds corresponding to all species. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, great armed God, found the door of liberation, appearing as the leader in all worlds and awakening sentient beings. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, delightful light, found the door of liberation, revealing all the different aspects of the Buddha's teachings. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, sound of thunder in great trees, found the door of liberation, bringing together all the tree spirits with delightful ornaments. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, Lion King Light, found the door of liberation, fulfilling and clearly understanding the Buddha's vast array of blessings. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, Auspicious Eye of Intense Flames, found the door of liberation, observing the minds of sentient beings on dangerous paths and manifesting a magnificently adorned body for them. The thunderbolt-bearing spirit, Lotus Jewel Topknot, found the door of liberation, showering everywhere the jewel topknots, adorning all enlightening beings. At that time, the thunderbolt-bearing spirit, demigod of wonderful form, empowered by the Buddha, said in verse, "Observe the King of Truth. The teaching of the King of Truth is thus. His physical forms have no bounds, manifesting throughout the world. Each of the Buddha's hairs is an inconceivable act of light, like the clear orb of the sun, illuminating all lands. The spiritual powers of the Buddha pervade the entire cosmos. In the presence of all sentient beings, he manifests infinite bodies. The sound of the Buddha's teaching is heard in all quarters. According to the type of being, he satisfies their minds. The masses see the honored sage in the palace in the world for the sake of all the living, expounding the great teaching. In the whirlpool of the ocean of truth, with all kinds of different doctrines, various appropriate techniques, he teaches without end. Those boundless great techniques respond to all the lands. Those who meet the Buddha's light all see the Buddha body. Having served all the Buddhas, many as atoms in a billion lands, his virtue is as vast as space, looked up to by all. His mystical power is impartial, appearing in all lands. While sitting at rest in the sublime enlightenment sight, he appears before all sentient beings. Blazing clouds illumining all with various spheres of light, extending throughout the universe, showing where the Buddha acts. Furthermore, the enlightening being, universally good, entered into the ocean of techniques of inconceivable doors of liberation, and entered into the ocean of virtues of the Buddha. That is to say, there was a door of liberation called purifying all Buddha lands, pacifying the sentient beings, and causing them all to be ultimately emancipated. There was a door of liberation called going to all realms of complete virtues cultivated by all the Buddhas. There was a door of liberation called the great ocean of vows defining the stages of all enlightening beings. There was a door of liberation called everywhere manifesting infinite bodies, numerous as atoms in the cosmos. There was a door of liberation called explaining an inconceivable number of different names throughout all lands. There was a door of liberation called showing the boundless realms of enlightening beings' psychic powers in all atoms. There was a door of liberation named showing the events of the formation and decay of the ages of past, present, and future in the space of an instant. There was a door of liberation named showing the oceans of faculties of all enlightening beings, each entering their own spheres. There was a door of liberation named ability to make various bodies appear by mystic powers all throughout the boundless cosmos. There was a door of liberation called showing the processes of all enlightening beings' practices, entering into the great techniques of universal knowledge. At that time, the enlightening being, universally good, by virtue of his own accomplishment, and also receiving the spiritual power of the Buddha, having looked over the ocean of all the assemblies, spoke these verses. The immense, vast fields adorned by the Buddha are equal in number to all atoms. Pure children of Buddha fill them all, reigning the inconceivable, most sublime teaching. As in this assembly we see the Buddha sitting, so it is also in every atom. The Buddha body has no coming or going, and clearly appears in all the lands there are, demonstrating the practices cultivated by enlightening beings, the various techniques of innumerable approaches to their stages, expounding as well the inconceivable truth. He causes the Buddha children to enter the realm of reality. producing phantom Buddhas numerous as atoms, corresponding to the inclinations of all beings' minds, the expedient doors into the profound realm of truth, boundlessly vast, all he expounds. The Buddha's names are equal to the worlds, filling all lands in the 10 directions. None of his methods are employed in vain. He tames sentient beings and purifies all. The Buddha, in every atom, displays infinite great mystic powers. Sitting in each on the enlightenment site, he speaks of past Buddhas' enlightening deeds. All immense eons of past, present, and future, Buddha reveals in every instant. All the events of their formation and decay, his inconceivable knowledge comprehends. The congregation of Buddha's children is endlessly vast, but though they try together to fathom Buddha's state, the teachings of the Buddhas have no bounds. To thoroughly know them all is most difficult. Buddhas like space without discrimination, equal to the real cosmos with no resting place. Phantom manifestations circulate everywhere, all sitting on enlightenment sites, attaining true awareness. Buddha teaches widely with wonderful voice. All stages of enlightenment are thoroughly clear. Appearing before each sentient being, he gives all the Buddha's equal truth. Furthermore, the enlightening being, sublime light of pure virtue, the great spiritual hero, found the door of liberation going to all assemblies of enlightening beings in the 10 directions and adorning the sites of enlightenment. The enlightening being, light of the supreme lamp of universal virtue, found the door of liberation in a single instant, showing endless entrances to attainment of true awakening, teaching and developing inconceivable worlds of sentient beings. The enlightening being, lion banner of universal light, found the door of liberation, cultivating the enlightening being's adornments of blessings and virtue, producing all Buddha lands. The enlightening being, subtle light of flames of universal jewels, found the door of liberation, observing the realms of the Buddha's mystic powers, without confusion. The enlightening being, banner of oceans of qualities of universal sounds, found the door of liberation, showing the adornments of all Buddha fields in one congregation at a site of enlightenment. The enlightening being, light of universal knowledge, illumining the realm of Buddhahood, found the door of liberation, following the Buddha, investigating the most profound and enormously vast matrix of the cosmos. The enlightening being, light of inexhaustible virtue of universal purity, found the door of liberation, entering into all mundane activities and producing the boundless practices of enlightening beings. The enlightening being, universal supreme light, found the door of liberation, able to manifest the spheres of all Buddhas within the formless realm of truth. At that time, the enlightening being, sublime light of pure virtue, the spiritual hero, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the ocean of liberation doors of all the enlightening beings, and said in verse, "All lands there be in the 10 directions are beautified and purified, all in an instant, by the sublime voice turning the wheel of truth. Throughout the world, without an equal. The realm of the Buddha has no bounds. In an instant, the cosmos is filled. In every atom he sets up an enlightenment site, proving enlightenment in all. creating mystic displays. Buddha cultivated practices in the past, extending through countless eons, adorning all Buddha fields, appearing unhindered like space. The Buddha's spiritual powers are unlimited, filling the boundless reaches of all time. Even if one spent countless eons constantly observing, one would never be wearied or jaded. Observe the realms of Buddha's mystic power. All lands in all quarters are beautifully pure. He appears therein in every one, instantaneously changing in infinite forms. If you observe the Buddha for countless ages, you won't apprehend even the extent of one hair. The Buddha's boundless doors of techniques illumine inconceivably many fields. Buddha in past ages in the world served an infinite ocean of Buddhas. Therefore, all beings are like river rapids, coming to make offerings to the world-honored one. The Buddha appears everywhere, in infinite lands in each atom, the realms therein being all infinite too. In all, he abides for endless eons. Buddha of yore, for the sake of all beings, cultivated an ocean of boundless compassion, entering birth and death along with all beings, teaching the masses, making them pure. Buddhas abide in the matrix of the cosmos of real thusness, signless, formless, free from all taints. When beings observe Buddha's various bodies, all their troubles and pains then dissolve. Furthermore, the enlightening being, great brilliance of the moon reflected in the ocean, the great spiritual hero, found the door of liberation producing the means of transcendence pertaining to each stage of enlightenment, thereby edifying sentient beings and purifying all Buddha lands. The enlightening being, undefiled treasury of light of oceans of cloud-like sounds, found the door of liberation in every instant of awareness, entering into the various distinctions of all objective realms. The enlightening being, top-knot born of wisdom, found the door of liberation, revealing pure great virtues to all sentient beings when they first arrive at the sight of enlightenment. The enlightening being, brave lotus top-knot, found the door of liberation, revealing all the Buddha teachings to sentient beings in accord with their infinite faculties and understandings. The enlightening being, sun banner of clouds of universal knowledge, found the door of liberation, developing the knowledge of Buddhahood, abiding forever. The enlightening being, greatly persevering with indestructible courage, found the door of liberation of power to enter into all the boundless symbols of the teachings. The enlightening being, banner of light of fragrant flames, found the door of liberation, showing how all the present Buddhas first began enlightening practice, and on through to their final consummation of the body of knowledge and wisdom. The enlightening being, deep, beautiful sound of great enlightened virtue, found the door of liberation peacefully abiding in the ocean of all the great vows of Vairochana, the illuminator. The enlightening being, born of wisdom with the light of great virtue, found the door of liberation revealing the most profound realm of the Buddha, which pervades the cosmos. At that time, the enlightening being, great brilliance of the moon reflected in the ocean, empowered by the Buddha, observed the ocean of arrays of all the hosts of enlightening beings, and said in verse, "The transcendent means and the stages of enlightenment, vast, inconceivable, are all fulfilled. Infinite sentient beings subdued and harmonized. All Buddha lands are pure. As Buddha teaches in the worlds of beings, all lands in the 10 directions are filled. In an instant of thought, he turns the wheel of truth, accommodating it to all states of mind. Buddha, over countless vast eons, has appeared everywhere before sentient beings, according to his past cultivation. He shows his purified realm of action. I see everywhere in all directions, and see the Buddhas showing mystic powers, all sitting in sanctuaries, realizing enlightenment, surrounded by listening crowds. The immense radiance of Buddha's reality body can appear in the world through expedient means, according with the inclinations of all beings' minds, reigning the teachings to suit their faculties. The impartial, signless body of true suchness, the pure reality body of untainted light, with knowledge and calm, with innumerable bodies, he preaches the truth, adapting to all. The powers of the King of Truth are all pure, his knowledge and wisdom like space, unbounded. He reveals all without any concealment, causing all beings to be enlightened. In accord with what Buddha cultivated, up to his perfection of all knowledge, now he radiates light through the cosmos, showing it all therein. Buddha shows mystic powers through his original vow, illuminating all the 10 directions. What the Buddha practiced of yore, all is expounded in these networks of light. There is no end of worlds in all directions. No equals, no bounds, each one distinct. Buddha's unhindered power emits a great light, clearly revealing all of those lands. At that time, the Buddha's lion seat, its round platform of exquisite flowers of many jewels, its base, steps, doors, and all its embellishments, each produced as many great enlightening beings as there are atoms in a Buddha land. Their names were Oceanic Wisdom, Sovereign King of Occult Powers, Thunder Shaking All, Topknot of Lights of Many Jewels, Bold Intelligence of the Sun of Knowledge, Seal of Knowledge made of jewels of inconceivable qualities, 100-eye Lotus Topknot, Light Spheres of Golden Flames, Universal Sound of the Cosmos, Cloud Sound Pure Moon, Banner of Light of Benevolent Courage. These were the leaders, and there were as many of them as atoms in many Buddha lands. At the same time as they appeared, these enlightening beings each produced clouds of various offerings. For example, clouds of flowers of all jewels, clouds of all subtle fragrances of lotus blossoms, clouds of orbs of jewel lights, clouds of fragrant flames of boundless realms, clouds of jewel-like light spheres from the treasury of the sun, clouds of all pleasing musical sounds, clouds of flames of light from all jewel lamps, with boundless colors and forms, clouds of branches, flowers, and fruits from trees of many jewels, clouds of regal jewels with inexhaustible pure radiance, clouds of all the finest decorative gems. There were as many such clouds of various offerings as there are atoms in a Buddha world. Each of those enlightening beings produced such clouds of offerings unceasingly, raining on the oceanic assemblies at all enlightenment sites. Having manifested these clouds, they circled the Buddha to the right, circling him countless hundreds and thousands of times. In whatever direction they came from, there, not far from the Buddha, they magically produced innumerable lotus lion seats of various jewels, and each sat cross-legged thereon. The spheres of actions of these enlightening beings were pure and vast as the sea. They had attained the state of universality of illumination, of knowledge and wisdom. Following the Buddhas, they were unhindered in their actions. They were able to enter the ocean of all principles of discernment and elucidation, and had mastered the teaching of inconceivable liberation. They dwelt in the state of all-sidedness of the Buddhas. They had already mastered all techniques of concentration formulae and were able to contain the ocean of all the teachings. They dwelt in the stage of equanimous knowledge of past, present, and future. They had attained the immense joy of profound faith. Their boundless stores of blessings were most pure. They observed everywhere in space, throughout the cosmos. They diligently made offerings to all Buddhas appearing in any land, in all worlds. At that time, the enlightening being, oceanic wisdom, sovereign king of occult powers, the great spiritual hero, empowered by the Buddha, surveyed the oceans of masses at the scene of enlightenment, and said in verse, Buddha knows what all Buddhas have realized. Unhindered as space, he illumines all, his light pervading countless lands everywhere. He sits amidst the hosts, all magnificently pure. The Buddha's virtues cannot be measured. They fill all the cosmos in every direction. Sitting under every enlightenment tree, all the great powers assemble like clouds. Buddha has such spiritual powers, manifesting infinite forms at once. The Buddha's sphere is beyond bounds. Individuals see according to their liberation. Buddha passed oceans of eons, working in all realms of being, teaching creatures by various means, having them accept and practice enlightening ways. Vairochana, replete with magnificent refinements, sits on a lotus bank lion seat. All the assembled hosts are pure. Silently, all gaze in respect. The banks of jewels radiate light, emitting boundless clouds of fragrant flames. Countless flower garlands are draped around. On such a seat does the Buddha sit. Various adornments decorate its glorious facades, constantly emitting lamplight clouds of fragrant flames, immensely vast, blazing, illumining all. The sage sits upon supreme embellishments. Beautiful windows of various jewels, draped with lotuses of exquisite gems, always producing sublime sounds, delighting all hearers. Thereon Buddha sits, most radiant of all. A jewel crescent supports the seat, shaped like a half-moon. Diamond is its pedestal, its color blazing bright. Enlightening beings constantly circle it. Buddha is most radiant among them. His various mystic displays fill the 10 directions, expounding the far-reaching vows of the Enlightened One. All reflected images appear therein. It is on such a seat the Buddha calmly sits. At that time, the great enlightening being, thunder-shaking all, empowered by the Buddha, looked over all the assembled hosts and said, Buddha accumulated enlightenment practices, making offerings to infinite Buddhas everywhere. Sustained by the power of the Enlightened One, none do not see him on his seat. Jewels of fragrant flames, fulfilling all wishes, encrust the Buddha's flower lion throne. Various adornments, all appearing as reflections, are clearly seen by all the hosts. Buddha's throne displays magnificent forms. Instant to instant, their colors and types each differ. According to the differences in beings' understandings, each sees the Buddha thereupon. Jewel branches hanging down, webs of lotus flowers. As the flowers open, enlightening beings emerge, each producing sublime, pleasing voices, praising the Buddha on his throne. Buddha's virtues are extensive as space. All adornments are born from them. The embellishing features of each particular state no sentient beings can comprehend. Diamond is the ground, indestructible, vast, pure, level and even. Nets of pearls hang in the sky, all around the enlightenment tree. The infinite colors of the ground are all distinct. Gold dust is spread all around. Flowers and jewels strewn about, all beautifying Buddha's throne. Earth spirits dance with joy, with infinite manifestations in an instant, creating clouds of adornments everywhere, while remaining reverently gazing at Buddha. Jewel lamps immensely large, shining extremely bright, fragrant flames and swirling light never ending. These manifestations differ according to the time. Earth spirits make offerings of these. All the adornments existing in every single land appear at this enlightenment scene by the mystic power of Buddha. Then the great enlightening being, Jewel Light Topknot, empowered by the Buddha, surveyed the oceanic masses at the site of enlightenment and said, "When the Buddha was cultivating practice in the past, he saw the various Buddha lands, all fully complete. The lands he saw this way were endless. All of them appear at this enlightenment scene. The Buddha's enormous spiritual power sheds light, showering gems everywhere. This treasury of jewels is scattered over the site, beautifying the ground all around. Buddha's blessings and mystical powers adorn everywhere with precious gemstones. The ground and the enlightenment tree alternately emit light and sound expressing the truth. Precious lamps, infinite, rain from the sky, studded with regal sapphires, all emitting subtle sounds speaking truth. This the earth spirits cause to appear. The jewel ground manifests ubiquitous clouds of light. Jewel lamps blaze bright as lightning. Jewel nets hung afar cover above. Jewel boughs, variously draped, make decorations. Look over the entire ground adorned with various beautiful jewels. It shows beings the ocean of actions, causing them to comprehend the real nature of things. The enlightenment trees in all the spheres of all the Buddhas everywhere all appear at the enlightenment site, expounding the Buddha's pure teaching. In accord with the inclinations of beings' minds, the ground produces wonderful sounds, conforming to what the Buddha would preach at his seat, each of the teachings fully explained. The ground constantly produces subtle, fragrant light. In the light are chanted pure, clear sounds. If any beings are able to receive the teaching, it causes them to hear, and their afflictions vanish. Each adornment is fully complete, and could not be described in 1,000,000 years. The Buddha's mystic power extends everywhere. That's why the ground is beautifully pure. Then the great enlightening being, bold intelligence of the Son of Knowledge, empowered by the Buddha, looked over all the multitudes assembled on the scene, and said in verse, "Buddha sits in the hall of truth with steady gaze, brilliantly lighting up the palace. In accordance with the dispositions of all beings, his body appears throughout all lands. The Buddha's palace is beyond conception, adorned with stores of precious jewels, each decoration shining with light. Sitting there, the Buddha is most conspicuous of all, with pillars of jewels of various hues, chimes of real gold hanging like clouds. Jewel stairways in rows on 4 sides. The gates open in every direction. Arrays of banners of flowery silk, jewel trees with decorated branches and boughs, garlands of pearls draped on all sides. The ocean of wisdom sits calmly therein. Nets of jewels, exquisite fragrant banners, brilliant lamps hung like clouds, covered with various decorations, the world-transcending true knower sits within. Everywhere he manifests clouds of mystic displays. Those clouds teaching throughout the world, harmonizing and calming down all sentient beings. All this appears from the Buddha's palace. Trees of gems bloom with fine flowers, having no peer in all the world. The embellishments of the lands of all times reveal their reflections therein. Everywhere there are heaps of jewels, their light blazes in countless hues. Gates and doors open at intervals all around. The beams and ceiling are especially beautiful. The Buddha's palace is inconceivable. Its pure radiance contains every form. In it appear all palaces, a Buddha sitting in each. The Buddha's palace is boundless. The naturally awakened one abides therein. All the masses from all 10 directions come gather around the Buddha. Then the great enlightening being, seal of knowledge made of jewels of inconceivable qualities, empowered by the Buddha, looked over all the oceans of beings gathered at the scene of enlightenment, and said in verse, "The Buddha cultivated an ocean of blessings, many as the atoms in all lands. Produced by the powers of his mind and will, the enlightenment sight is pure, without any taint. Wish-fulfilling jewels are the roots of the trees. Diamond are their trunks, nets of jewels cover them, and a rich fragrance surrounds. The tree branches are adorned by all kinds of gems. The limbs are of precious stone, soaring high. The branches and twigs hang thickly like heavy clouds. Underneath sits Buddha on the enlightenment site. The site of enlightenment is unthinkably vast. The trees surround it, covering all. The dense foliage and luxurious flowers mutually cover and reflect, while in the flowers grow gemstone fruits. From among all the branches emanate beautiful lights, illuminating the whole enlightenment scene, pure, bright, inexhaustible. This appears by the power of Buddha's vows. Banks of precious stones are the flowers, reflections shining like patterned clouds. The encircling trees perfume all around. The enlightenment sights adorned everywhere. See, in the sight of the Buddha's enlightenment, lotuses and jewel nets, all pure. Flames of light in whirls appear from here. Music of bells and chimes comes from the clouds. All the wonderfully adorned trees existing in all lands appear in the enlightenment tree. Buddha beneath it sheds all defilement. The sight of enlightenment is made of vast blessings. The tree branches rain jewels without end. In the jewels appear enlightening beings, going everywhere to serve the Buddhas. The realm of the Buddhas is inconceivable. They cause all the trees there to produce music, in accord with the enlightened way developed by Buddha. The hosts of beings, hearing the music, can see it all. Then the great enlightening being, 100 eyes, lotus top-knot, empowered by the Buddha, surveyed all the assemblies at the scene of enlightenment, and said, "All the jewels emit wondrous sounds, extolling the names of Buddhas of all times. The deeds of those Buddhas' mystical powers can all be viewed in this enlightenment scene. Flowers bloom in profusion, like party-coloured cloth. Clouds of light flow in all directions. The spirits of enlightenment trees bring these to the Buddha, with single-minded devotion, making offerings of them. Flames of jewel light all form banners. From the banners burst forth sublime fragrances. The fragrances perfuming all the congregations, therefore the place is all beautifully pure. Lotuses hang down with light of golden hue, the light intoning clouds of Buddha's wondrous voice, covering all the lands in all directions, extinguishing the fires of sentient beings' torments. The independent power of Enlightenment Tree King constantly radiates light extremely pure. The assembled masses in the 10 directions have no bounds, yet all of them appear reflected in the enlightenment scene. The light flames of the jewel branches are like bright lamps. Their light emanates sound declaring the great vow. What the Buddha practiced of yore in all states of being is fully expounded therein. Under the tree are spirits, as many as atoms in the land, all staying together at this enlightenment site. Each before the Buddha's enlightenment tree, continuously expounding the liberation doors, Buddha practiced many deeds of yore, making offerings to all the enlightened. His practices as well as his fame all appear within the jewels. Everything in the scene produces wonderful sound. The sound is vast, pervading the 10 directions. If any beings can hear the teaching, it civilizes them and makes them pure. The Buddha in the past cultivated infinite embellishments, all the adornments, innumerable kinds, of every enlightenment tree. Then the great enlightening being, light spheres of golden flames, empowered by the Buddha, looked over all the assemblies at the scene of enlightenment and said, Buddha cultivated enlightening practices, comprehending all things, clarifying the true and the false. This is the Buddha's first power of knowledge. As in the past, he observed the nature of all things equally. He clarified the ocean of all doings. Thus now, in the nets of light, he can tell it all, throughout all quarters. In past eons, he developed great techniques for guiding beings according to their faculties, causing all their minds to be pure. Thus was Buddha able to perfect the knowledge of potentials. As the understanding of sentient beings is not the same, and their inclinations and actions are different, he teaches them according to their needs. Buddha can do this by his powers of knowledge. Comprehending the oceans of lands in all directions, all the worlds of beings they contain, Buddha's knowledge is equanimous like space. All he can show within a pore. Buddha knows the outcome of all acts, comprehending past, present, and future instantly. The lands, ages, beings, and times of all regions, all he can reveal and make clear. Meditation states, liberations, and powers are boundless, and so are trances and other techniques. Buddha shows them all to beings, gladdening them, causing all to wash away the darkness of afflictions. Buddha's knowledge is unhindered, comprehending all times. All he shows in an instant, in his hair pause. The Buddha's teachings, lands, and sentient beings, all these appear from his recollective power. Buddha's eye is vast as space. He sees the entire cosmos. In the unimpeded state, with unequaled function, all Buddhas can tell of this eye. All sentient beings are totally bound. All their intoxications and habits, Buddha causes to be removed by his methods. appearing throughout the world. Then the great enlightening being, universal sound of the cosmos, empowered by the Buddha, looked over the assembled beings at the state of enlightenment and said, "The Buddha's awesome spiritual powers pervade the 10 directions, their grandiose displays making no discrimination. The transcendent means, enlightening practices, fulfilled in the past, all they show. Of old he conceived compassion for beings, and practiced transcendent generosity. Wherefore his body is most sublime, gladdening all who see. In boundless eons past, he cultivated transcendent self-control, so acquired a pure body all-pervading, extinguishing the various torments of the world. He cultivated patience and tolerance, pure, faithful to truth, without discrimination. So his physical form is perfect, shedding light in all directions. He strove for boundless eons past, able to overthrow the barriers of sentient beings. Therefore he can emanate bodies in all directions, all appearing under enlightenment trees. Buddha practiced for long, long eons oceans of meditations, all of them pure. Thus he delights his beholders, removing all taint of afflictions. Buddha mastered the ocean of practices, fulfilling transcendent wisdom. Therefore he sheds light, illumining all, destroying the darkness of ignorance. Edifying beings by various means, he causes their practice to succeed. Traveling everywhere in the 10 directions for endless eons, he never rests. Buddha practiced for boundless eons, purifying and mastering transcendent vows. Therefore, he appears throughout the world, saving beings forever and ever. Buddha cultivated extensively for countless eons, transcendent power to deal with all truths. Thus he has perfected natural power, appearing throughout all lands. Buddha cultivated all-sided knowledge. The nature of his omniscience is like space. Therefore he has unhindered power, illuminating all lands in the 10 directions. Then the great enlightening being, cloud sound pure moon, empowered by the Buddha, looked over all the beings gathered at the enlightenment site and said, "The realm of his spiritual powers is equal to space. No beings do not perceive them. The stages he perfected in his past practice are fully explained in the jewels. Striving purely for countless eons, he entered the first stage, that of extreme joy, producing the vast knowledge of the cosmos. He saw countless Buddhas of the 10 directions. In the stage of purity amidst all things, he observed standards of purity numerous as beings. Having practiced extensively for many eons, he served the boundless ocean of Buddhas. Accumulating virtue in the stage of radiance, his store of calm was firm and enduring. The vast cloud of teachings he had already learned. So it is told in the gemstone fruits. The incomparable stage of clear intellect, like an ocean of flames, comprehending situations, he gave rise to compassion, with an equal physical pressure in all lands. These accomplishments of the Buddha are all expounded. Universal store of equanimity, the difficult-to-conquer stage, according with action and stillness, without contradiction. The realm of the Buddhist teaching is completely impartial. How the Buddha purified it, the jewels can tell. Far-reaching practice, the stage of oceanic wisdom, totally comprehending all aspects of the teachings, appearing in all lands like space. The voice of these teachings comes from the trees. The body of space pervading the cosmos, the lamp of wisdom shining on all beings, all practical methods completely purified, his past long journey he causes to be told. Adorned by execution of all vows, infinite oceans of lands are all pure. Undisturbed by any discrimination, this peerless stage is fully explained. Mystic powers of infinite scope enter the illumining power of the teachings. This pure stage of beneficent wisdom and its eons of practice are fully revealed. The far-reaching 10th stage of clouds of teaching engulfs everything, pervading all space. The realm of the Buddha is told in the voice. This voice is the Buddha's spiritual power. Then the great enlightening being, banner of light of benevolent courage, empowered by the Buddha, surveyed the 10 directions and said, "Innumerable sentient beings are in the congregation. Their various minds of faith are all pure. All can enter into understanding of Buddha's wisdom and understand all states which adorn it. Some can see the Buddha's reality body, incomparable, unhindered, pervading everywhere. The nature of all the infinity of things is in that body completely. Some see the Buddha's sublime body of form, its boundless physical characteristics blazing with light. According to the different understandings of various beings, it transforms into various appearances everywhere. Some see the body of unobstructed knowledge, equal in all times like space. According to the changes in beings' inclinations, it causes them to see all kinds of differences. Some can understand the Buddha's voice, pervading all lands in the 10 directions. According to sentient beings' abilities to understand, it produces verbal sounds for them without any hindrance. Some see the Buddha's various lights, variously shining throughout the world, and some see, too, in the Buddha's light, Buddhas displaying their mystical powers. Some see Buddha's oceans of clouds of light issuing from his pores of radiant hues, showing the paths he practiced of yore, causing beings to deeply believe and enter Buddha's knowledge. Some see the Buddha's adorning marks and blessings, and see where the blessings come from. The oceans of transcendent means he practiced of old are clearly seen in the Buddha's marks. Buddha's qualities cannot be measured. They fill the cosmos without any bounds. These, and the ranges of psychic powers, these beings can expound through Buddha's power. Then the oceans of worlds of arrays of flower banks, by the power of the Buddha, all shook in 6 ways, in 18 manners. That is, they trembled all over in all directions. They welled up all over in all directions. They surged all over in all directions. They quaked all over in all directions. They roared all over in all directions. They crashed all over in all directions. These various world leaders each caused clouds of inconceivable offerings to appear, raining on the ocean of beings at the sight of enlightenment. Clouds of ornaments of all fragrant flowers, clouds of decorations of all precious stones, clouds of flower nets of all jewel flames, clouds of spheres of light of jewels of boundless varieties, clouds of treasuries of pearls of all colors, clouds of all precious sandalwood scents, clouds of umbrellas made of all kinds of precious substances, clouds of diamonds with pure resonance, clouds of necklaces of jewels shining like the sun, clouds of banks of lights of all gemstones, clouds of all sorts of decorations. These clouds of adornments were infinite, inconceivably numerous. These world leaders each produced such clouds of offerings, showering upon the ocean of beings at the Buddha's site of enlightenment, all reaching everywhere. As in this world, leaders joyfully produce such offerings, so did all the world leaders in all worlds of the ocean of worlds of arrays of flower banks make such offerings. In each of their worlds there was a Buddha sitting on the site of enlightenment. The individual world leaders' various resolutions of faith, foci of concentration, methods of meditation, practice of methods assisting enlightenment, accomplishments, joys, approaches, understandings of the teachings, access to the realm of Buddha's spiritual powers, access to the realms of Buddha's abilities, entryways into the Buddha's liberation, were the same as in the flower bank ocean of worlds, in all the oceans of worlds, in the entire space of the whole cosmos.